Today we're making Okoy, a fried Philippine fried fritters. Hi everyone! Today we're making a Philippine vegetable fritter called Okoy. This is a perfect snack, or it can be a part of a meal. So here are the ingredients we're going to need for our dish. We're going to need 1 carrot. We're going to cut it into matchstick sized strips. 1 sweet potato. Also, we're going to cut it into small thin strips. 1 cabbage. Also cut into small thin strips. You can use any type you want. I'm using the Asian one, of course, for a traditional recipe. We're going to need half a cup of flour, half a cup of cornstarch, half a cup of water, about 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and traditionally this comes with shrimps with skin on, head on, and tail on as part of the dish, but today we're just doing the vegetable. But if you're adding shrimps, that can be added to the top of the fritters. Also, for a little coloring, we're going to add a little annatto powder. So here's the complete list of our ingredients. Okay, so in a large bowl, we combine all our dry ingredients, which is the half a cup of flour, half a cup of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of salt, and a teaspoon of black pepper. We also added in a teaspoon of annatto powder for coloring. And now we're going to add in our half a cup of water. Just whisk everything until nice and combined. So just keep adding in water to get that nice runny consistency. Kind of like a pancake batter, but more watery. So that's perfect. What we're going to do now is add in all our vegetables. Now for our vegetable, make sure to cut them as thin and as small as possible. Kind of like a matchstick. That's the secret of making it nice and crispy. I think that will be the hardest or the most time-consuming part of this dish. It's just the vegetable. You can use a mandolin, a box grater, or just by hand using a knife. When I use a mandolin for this, but the mandolin still cuts it pretty thick, so what I did is I cut them smaller after using a mandolin. So as you can see, it's nice and thin. So that's what you're trying to go for. So just add in all our vegetables. And at this point, just mix them until well combined. This is supposed to look orange, but the annatto powder I have is the color is red, not orange. And also the annatto powder is optional. You don't have to add that in. I just used it for coloring. So once we have everything nicely coated, we are ready for frying. So what I do is I grab a small saucer. I add in a portion. Try to keep them flat. And then if you're using shrimp, you usually just put shrimp on top of it. And then what we do is we gradually just put this in a hot oil and until it's nice and crispy, and then we'll flip it over to cook the bottom part, and that's pretty much it. So this is ready for cooking. Let's just heat up some oil and we'll start our cooking. Now personally, I like using bean sprouts for this because it's nice and thin, has a nice flavor, and it's nice and crunchy when it's cooked because they're very thin. So if you want to give it a try, just give it a try by using this. Yeah, same steps, same ingredients. Just use the bean sprouts instead of the other ingredients. So now we have a pan and some oil. We're going to be frying our vegetables. Once our oil is hot, gently pour over the mixture into the oil. It's probably about 3 to 5 minutes per piece. Also, make sure you have a cooling rack ready to drain them later. Once one is nice and crispy, flip it over to cook the other side. Be very careful when doing this. So just continue cooking this until you get the nice crispiness you prefer. Okay, so this is good. It's nice and crunchy, very crispy. So just pull it out and set it over some paper towel or in a wire rack for the oil to drain. Also, rule of thumb, every time you're frying, that is the time you kind of drizzle a little salt for flavoring. Then we'll just continue doing this for the rest of our batter. And here's our finished dish, Okoy, or the Philippine fritters. On the left, that's our sweet potato and squash, and on the right, those are our mung bean sprouts. I personally like the mung bean sprouts ones because they can be more crispy since they're smaller and thinner. But if you want the traditional one, you can always use the squash and the sweet potato one. So as always, this is perfect with spicy vinegar or any type of vinegar since the flavor profile is very mild. So I hope you enjoyed today's recipe and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.